Well, hello my fellow DIY friends. So take a look at this. So what we have here today is a P-trap under a sink that you're trying to connect to the waste line going out to the street, but the problem is the waste line is way off to the left. So how are you going to get this P-trap lined up in there? Well, you're not. That's the problem. So today we're going to show you how to deal with this situation. So normally what happens when you're dealing with a sink and a P-trap is you typically have your waste line coming straight out of the wall directly behind the drain here. But what happens a lot when you remodel is you end up with a different vanity, different sink, and sometimes the difference in the horizontal distance can change between where you once were. The sink was over here, the older sink was directly in front of the drain line here. Now it's not. Now it's almost a full foot over. And the problem is if I put this P-trap back on here, see, you're limited to the reach, to the horizontal reach of your P-trap. So let's say the drain line came out like 4 or 5 inches over to the left. Then we'd be fine. But the problem is you're limited by the reach of your P-trap, and you go to Home Depot and Lowe's, they don't have any kind of like longer P-traps than this that are more horizontal. So what you have to do now is you have to come up with some fittings that we can put here that will make that 45-degree angle for you. Now the problem here is, you see, the builder left us a very, very short stub out coming out of the wall there of PVC pipe. So it's not like we could just slice through the PVC pipe and throw another trap adapter on there. That's a 1.5 inch to 1.25 inch trap adapter there. So what we have to try to do is make a few slices into the body of this thing and try to break them off the pipe. Okay, and if that doesn't work, okay, because our goal is to get this piece off of the pipe and put a 45-degree fitting on there first. See, we want to have a piece like this on there, onto the waste pipe. So if we can't get this cemented on the outside, then I have a plan of what to do here. Let me show you what we're going to do. Okay, so assuming that we end up having to use this piece, we want to make the length of pipe, knowing that this is going to slide inside of it, right? And it's going to go all the way in like that. So I've marked a line here which represents a little bit past the point where it ends inside. Okay, and this is the only length of piece that we'll really need, because what's going to happen is that this 45 piece here will then cement on the outside of this side. So this slip piece here covers the inside of the pipe, and this one here cements onto the outside of the other end of that pipe section. So this is where we're going to cut it. We're going to use my little PVC pipe saw here, which is a string. I know most of you think of saws as being a blade, but in this case this saw is a little metal cable. Now on this side of the pipe here, so if we put our 45-degree part on there, we have to figure out how much length we need for it to plug on there, and then for the trap adapter here to go on to the other end of that piece right there. So it'll go pretty much right there. So all we need is about 1 inch in between, just to be able to play around with there. Alright, so here's my idea. So assume this is the pipe, the drain pipe coming out of the wall, the 1.5 inch PVC pipe from the builder. So what I have here is, this is a 1.5 inch, this is a flush inside coupling. So this will cement inside the pipe. Put this in like that. So he'll go all the way in. Okay. Then we'll need to get another piece here to go on this side. So there's your extension. This is the builder's pipe coming out of the wall. There's my slip piece. There's just my little extension there. And then this 45-degree piece will go there on the outside. He'll cement on the outside of that pipe. So that's what I've done now up to this point. So now we'll have a 45-degree angle coming out of the wall, which is what we're after. So then we have to take this other little piece of PVC pipe, and again, that 45-degree elbow there will cement onto that piece. And then lastly, I can take my new trap adapter here. This converts 1.5 inch pipe to 1 1/4 inch, which is what you need in bathroom vanities. Most of the piping coming out of the drains and the vanities and the P-traps are 1 1/4 inch. So then we'll cement this on here. So that's what it will look like underneath the sink. Not the most prettiest thing in the world, but that's what enables you to get what you need done. This is what we'll have to do if we can't get this piece here to go directly onto the outside of the builder's pipe. So this is my goal, is just this short little 2-piece solution. So if this solution doesn't work, we have to go to the one that I just showed you. Okay, so here you can see we were in luck. I was able to pry that trap adapter off the waste pipe there by making a few slits in it with my Dremel tool here, and then just pried it off with the pliers, so we were able to get it off. So now we don't have to make that big contraption. All I have to do is cement this 45-degree angle piece right on there. Okay, so I've dry fitted the 45-degree elbow on there, and I think this is going to work out nice for us. So I got my little piece of pipe that I'm going to dry fit in there and just see how it looks. So he'll go there. The trap adapter would then go on here. And you just want to make sure that when you do this, you see how this whole thing can twist? It can go down like that, it can go up like that. You want to make sure it's probably level. Maybe even if you want to go slightly decline, that might work too. But I'm just going to try to keep it level for now. This would be a perfect time, if you haven't already, to hit the subscribe button down below. And once you hit that subscribe button, you'll see that little gray bell. Click on that, and that will alert you to every time we put a new video, so that you'll never miss a video. And also, if you like our video here, you can click on the thumbs up button down below. That lets us know that you like us. And any questions you have, please enter them in the comments down below too. Okay, and lastly, here's the P-trap in place, and you can see once this guy is, twisted more facing this way, he'll go straight into there. So it looks like we have a winning combination right here. Okay, so here it is, all still dry fitted and everything, but I wanted to just review what we have here now. So back in the back wall, you have the 1.5 inch pipe coming out of the wall from the builder. We stuck on that 45-degree elbow to change the direction of it and send everything this way, aiming right towards the downspout. Okay. So then after the 45-degree piece, we have that PVC pipe there so that we can put this trap adapter onto it. And that trap adapter reduces it from 1.5 inches down to 1 1/4 inch that you need for a vanity. And then this whole part right here is just the P-trap. That's a little kit that you buy. It's a couple of bucks for the P-trap. And then this piece here is actually a 6-inch extension. So anytime you buy a new drain, new sink or whatever, always go and buy a 6, 9 or 12-inch extension, because you always end up having to use it. If you just buy this P-trap, and you can see right here where it would fit normally up on the pipe here, that's not going to give you enough down distance there, vertical distance. So what you need to do is you have to get an extension, and you cut the extension, you cut it to length such that it fits right at the bottom here. That's where it fits in that cutout there. That's where it ends. It terminates right there. So you have to cut that distance such that when you slide the P-trap up against it, it will be there and perfectly level to go straight into the center of that pipe. So it takes a while to kind of figure it out and what sort of distances you need. But that's why you do all of this when it's a dry fit. Don't cement in one single piece in the back there until you've got all of this done. So this is what your solution is going to look like here. Alright, so I brought all my action outside here for a minute because I want to cement my 3 fittings together here to minimize the amount of cement and possible, spillage that I have under the sink. Because I will, when it's all done, I will have to cement this onto that pipe that comes out of the wall. Okay, but I always try to put all my parts together out here where it's easy to do it. And so what we do is we use this purple primer first, and you must use the primer on here. It's against plumbing code in probably just about every city, but I can't tell you how many idiots I see that just go right for the cement and cement it without priming it. You have to put the primer in there. You have to. And the inspectors will fail you if they don't see that little purple ring around the pipe when they come to inspect your work. Okay, so anyway, if you don't put that purple primer on, these will separate. And I can tell you firsthand, a friend of mine had an air conditioning line inside their wall 6 months ago, leaked for God knows how long, because whoever originally put it together didn't use primer. And they had mold all over their house, tens of thousands of dollars of damage, and the insurance company is fighting them on half of the stuff. So that's the nightmare you have to look forward to when you don't take 5 seconds to take this purple stuff and brush it on your pipes. So I'm warning you now, this is your one and only warning that you're getting about this. And I'm harping on the point because it is so important. And I'm begging you folks, please do not be that guy that does not put the primer on there. Alright, so I just gave the parts a coating. And it doesn't take a whole lot either, you know, try to be neat about it. Just wherever the two parts join. So here you do the inside of the trap adapter here, right? And you do the inside of the... We got to add a little more right there. See that? You just want an even coating. And then you do the other inside of the other side of the elbow, and then both ends of the pipe where it's going to get connected to both other pieces here. And you notice how it's nice and clean. All you need to do is give it the width of the swab around, pretty much, because you only need to cover where the two parts go in and touch and connect, right? You don't need to go hog wild, and you don't need to make a huge drippy mess. It just bugs the heck out of me when I come in to do some work after a plumber has been in there and they got stuff just dripping down the pipes. I'm like, come on, really? And here is our final product of the 3 parts that are connected together here. They're all cemented now. Now when I cement, I'll coat both sides of the inside of this guy and the outside of the pipe with the rubber cement there. You just pick it up here and you rub it all the way around real quick. You have about 10 seconds. All right, you do that real quick. You insert the piece in there, turn it a quarter of a turn, and hold both of them together in place for 30 seconds. You don't want to let go or anything because it can force it back out and loosen the joint. Now we had a professional plumber that was doing some work on a job site we were on last year, and the guy didn't do that, and he ended up getting called back the next day to come and repair his fitting that he made, because it didn't hold. It was leaking right there because he didn't put it in, twist it, and hold. Okay, I always use my channel locks to tighten these back up because these things have a nasty reputation of tipping over and they leak. And then I always like to store them back in their little pouch here. I prefer to keep them in a plastic bin away from everything else. Alright, so there it is, all cemented up and everything's hooked up and tightened and at the right angle and everything. So now we're going to do the water test, and I always like to lay down paper towels underneath because that will show you instantly if there's any drops of water. There should be 0, not 1 drop. Okay, so the water's been running a few minutes now. I usually like to run it for about 10 minutes. Because sometimes it can take a while. You might have a leak that's very, 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 very slight. And it might take a while for it to rear its ugly head. Because remember, the water is continuously streaming through this whole P-trap there. And then afterwards, we're going to do a overflow test where we'll run the level of the water up and let it go down this path here. You have to make sure you test that path down the drain as well. Because sometimes that kind of stuff affects what happens here under your gasket. You want to make sure your gasket is not dripping. That's a common source of a drip right there for people. So if you have a problem with your gasket dripping, take a look down in the description below. I'll put a link to my other video where we show you how to solve that particular issue when you're installing this drain pipe. How to put the Teflon tape on the threads up above there. And then whether or not you need to put any kind of sealant here. With these black gaskets here, these are rubber, they pretty much don't recommend you using putty You should only use plumber's putty if you really can't stop the leak, because the putty has oils in it, which they say will dry and crack this rubber over time. So silicone would be better, you know, to use a tube of silicone and just mash some on there before you put the gasket on. But right now we don't have any problems. The gasket's fitting nicely there. So that's it, folks. That's how you do it. And if you found this video useful, please give us a thumbs up down below. Click on the thumbs up icon. And you can also hit the subscribe button below so that you can come back in the future and binge watch many more of our helpful videos. And when you hit the subscribe button, be sure to hit the bell icon next to it, and that will alert you every time we upload a new video. So that's it for this week, folks, and we'll see you next week.